Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Talkin Kop. It's Friday night. It is a preview for Liverpool as they travel to Manchester City on Sunday in a huge game in the Premier League. I'm joined by Kev and I'm joined by Ashley to look forward to this game. And we'll have some predictions, we'll have some lineup stuff, and we'll have a chat about Liverpool's last couple of games, wherever we want to go. As always, if you're in the chat, hit like, subscribe, comment, don't become a member. Don't do that. And I mean that. That's not me being funny. Please don't. If you're interested in becoming a member, you're better off going over to Patreon and typing in Talking Cop, and you get all our details there, because we are switching there in the next month or so. So I don't want you to fucking take a sub now. It'll only be a disaster. Huge game on Sunday. Liverpool draw a Villa during the week, puts them 8 points clear of Arsenal in the Premier League. Arsenal, of course, now they are the ones with a game in hand. And Liverpool go to Man City, who are out of the European Cup after being beaten by Real Madrid. It might have been beaten 3-1, was it?
3-1.
The other night, and
Yep.
that was a pure guess. I just because I didn't even see the game.
You're correct.
But they're out. They're a wounded animal. We are a little bit wounded as well, and it's always a big game going to the Etihad. Kev, I'll come to you first. It's always a big game. The Etihad, City, always a big game, especially over the last 7-8 years. As City have come to real prominence in the Premier League. It's not a great ground for us to go to, league-wise. It's decent in the European Cup, but it's not a great place for us to go in the league. But the importance of this game, has it gone up a notch for you since the result against Villa?
Yeah, this is always the hardest game of the season. Doesn't matter what city you're doing or where they are. It wasn't until I started looking up what our results were that I realised how bad our form is there. The last time we had a win at the Etihad in the league was November 2015.
Yeah.
4-1
it's
win on
one
Jurgen,
in
Jurgen Klopp's
15.
first trip there, yeah.
yeah. A place where there's a lot of draws. We've been
Loads of
clapped
them.
there. Yeah, we've been clapped there 2 or 3 times. Absolutely twatted out of it twice.
Well, one is when Mane gets sent off, and one is when we're champions and drunk.
Yeah, exactly. So only really one of them counts in, but it's a horrible game. But saying that, we're not the Liverpool that we were under Klopp, and they're not the Man City that they have been over the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
I've never seen a Man City side as inconsistent as this under Guardiola. Not since he first arrived, but the importance of the game is huge. I think it doesn't really matter now. It's all about matching what Arsenal do, and keep minding the gap, keep the gap as well as you can. But to do that, we have to play like we did the other night against Villa, create that kind of level of chances consistently, but we have to be better defensively and more secure off the ball. And it's going to take a massive effort from the players that he trusts, the players that he uses. It's going to call on everything they got to keep this levels going, because every other side in the league has suffered major injury blows so far in this half of the season. Touch wood, we've only glimpsed at a few injury issues. We haven't really been hammered with them in the second half of the season yet, but I have a feeling that'll come to. I don't think that our players are somehow immune to what Guardiola was talking about it today in his press conference, the volume of football these players are being asked to play consistently now over a period of time. Our players aren't immune to it either. They're going to be asked to play upwards of nearly 60 games this season, some of them. And to do that, that has a shelf life. You can't do that consistently without there being a fall off.
Yeah.
And I think this is Man City's fall off for sure this season. Asking them to do it five times in a row. I don't care how much money they throw at the squad. The core of that squad hit a brick wall.
Yeah, they've thrown it out at the wrong time and the wrong players.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
And that happens, Kev. Like if you look at Liverpool, you go back, and we've had many an argument on here, and people in the chat have had many an argument over, when we win the European Cup in 2019, did we add enough? When we win in 2020, when we win the league in 2020, we add Thiago and we add there's 2 signings in Jota, and
Yeah,
you're kind of going, right, we've added a couple in there. Did we add enough the following season? Did we hold on to players too long? I think that's what's killed City. I think City have
that's
turned
just
over
yeah.
players, but I think they've kept so many for too long in the likes of Walker, arguably De Bruyne,
De
um,
Bruyne for sure.
arguably De Bruyne,
Bernardo
and
Silva is another one.
I'm one or two others, yeah. So, it's not an easy gig, even with all that money. It's not an easy gig to turn them over at the right time, and it happens as all. But like I think, barring what's going to happen in this hearing for Man City, which again still nobody knows what the fuck's going on there. You would argue that Pep will look and go, right, fresh start next season. We'll add a few more. A few will go out the door. We'll have more legs, and we'll go from there. We'll have Rodri returning, but you don't know what you're going to get with him, because it's a mad injury he's had, and they'll look to be stronger again next season. Actually, just on City, just rewinding it back a little bit, they go away to Real Madrid during the week, and they're 3-2 down. It was a real hammer blow for them in the first leg, that late goal by Bellingham, and I still can't get over the Man City defender just pushing Bellingham towards the ball, going, here, would you not knock that in the net, mate? Because it was so weird. Where I just jumped on his back and taken the red, you know what I mean? And take a look at the pen. But they go into that game during the week and you're thinking, City can score against Real Madrid. We've seen it this season. When you get it, you can get chances against Real Madrid. But he puts Haaland on the bench, and Madge Apple says there, I hope Haaland is actually out and Pep isn't playing mind games. He puts Haaland on the bench, and someone said I didn't even see him warming up during the week.
He didn't.
They looked like when I say I didn't even see the game, I seen some highlights of the game and more or less the goals, and they just looked ragged. Straight balls, killing them, any movement around the box, hurting them. Is it very hard to gauge what Man City we're going to get here on Sunday? Because I think it might be. I think it might be a little bit hard to gauge what we're going to get here.
I think I wouldn't look at that Madrid game as a standalone thing, because in terms of their Premier League form, they've actually ticked up a notch. Outside of Liverpool and Arsenal, they are the third best in terms of form in the last, I want to say, 4 or 5 games. So they've turned a corner. I mean, 200 million in the winter window will help you. We can't sit here and talk about Man City of old and how they're letting the team grow old without addressing the fact that they spent really significantly this window. And, they can afford to do that. They, for one reason or another, whether they were, deliberately keeping their purse strings tight to kind of make sure the spotlight wasn't on them during this investigation, that's a theory. But, in terms of net spend, they did have the money to spend. I think it's really interesting that they did splash that much cash mid-season. I mean, I think Marmoush looks a really great player. I think he's one of those guys that we'll look back on and be like, that could have easily been a Liverpool player in quality and style. I don't know about their center back. I think that the midfield signing has made a impact. I was reading about his debut, and I think he had one of the highest success rates in terms of tackles, like just on record for a debut. So he definitely helped control that midfield. So they've got a couple new ingredients there that seem to be clicking for them. It didn't click against Madrid, but again, don't take that game in isolation. I don't know why, that particular game looked so poor for them. But the last couple of games, the Newcastle result especially stands out. I mean, I don't even think they faced a shot on target from Newcastle, which is very unlike them. So they've definitely found a bit of form. So yeah, go in there. Go ahead.
No, sorry. I was going to say just on the Newcastle bit. Davey says they hammered us last week, but that was Eddie Howe waving the white flag. They don't like teams attacking them. So I know we are coming with the Newcastle result, but Davey's kind of saying, look, we just went there and just rolled over. Is it a case of Liverpool have to attack this side?
I think if we play our game, I think we have it in us, and even looking back at the Villa result, I know you were really down on the Villa result and, thought we played poorly. Statistically, we didn't actually play that poorly. In terms of, the big chances that we allowed them to have, I think it was about 4. And we had many, many more chances than they did. It didn't really feel like that because at the end of the game, I was basically hiding behind my couch. But I actually think that we did improve in that Villa game. And if we can build on that and use this City game as an opportunity to really, like, we tend to raise our game against big teams. I hope that we do that. And if we can, what better way to kind of like stake a claim and really gain the momentum that it feels like we've lost in the last couple of weeks. I genuinely feel like this is the game where if we come out of this with a solid win, doesn't have to be a big win, but a solid performance, a solid win, we're right back on track.
Yeah. I'm not going to lie, I was extremely annoyed over the Villa one. And in fairness, I was a bit annoyed over the Wolves one as well. I wasn't annoyed over the outcome, but I was annoyed over the way we went about the Wolves game. And I kind of gave a benefit of the doubt where I said, look, save energy, you're 2-0 up, try see out the game, and then it's hard to kind of get yourself going again when in fairness Wolves come out and have a go and they manage to get a goal back. It's hard to kind of kickstart yourself again because you see it in games all the time. One little thing happens, the ball deflects and goes over a corner and a crowd gets up and players get up a bit and they have a bit of momentum in the game and you're struggling to get it going again. And we've seen it so many times where Liverpool get a little bit of a spark in a game and another team just cannot get out. You know, the sort of way. And I gave the benefit of the doubt over the Wolves thing. The thing with Villa is, I'm not denying Liverpool made loads of chances. Not denying it. And look, we've seen Jota miss a bad one. We've seen Nunez miss a horrendous one. You know, we should score on a couple of occasions. My thing is, my annoyance in that game was controlling the game and managing the game and even trying to go back to the way we were, where we went, look, just keep the ball and move. Because my big thing on Villa was, yes, they look fairly, not potent in attack, but threatening in attack in a big way if these players click. Whereas I'd question if those Villa players will chase a ball around, constantly chase a ball around. And when you make that amount of chance and you don't take them, it's annoying. But when you concede 3 shots on target in a game and 2 of them are goals, like the first one, flicky headers everywhere, and I'm like, can someone just fucking put their head through this? And maybe that's a bit naive of me looking at it, but I was kind of going, my thing on football is, okay, if you're good in both boxes or you're half decent in one box and decent in the other box, you'll win a game. And I just felt like Liverpool weren't in that game. They just weren't good in either box for me. And I know people will disagree with that. And, like, you know, I've had lads saying to me, your head's gone. It's not. Listen, if you said to me on the 21st of February, Liverpool will be, let's call it 5 points. Let's call it 5 points. Let's give Arsenal 3 points for the game in hand. No, well, I would, because listen, when we
enjoy
were
what we've got for the time.
No, what I'm saying is when we were 6 clear with a game in hand, we were kind of going 9, right? So if we want to give Arsenal that 3 and make it 5, just for argument's sake, I'm quite happy with going, listen, you're 5 points clear, same amount of games played, with 12 games left. I'll absolutely take that, and I'll back Liverpool to win a title. I always would. My annoyance over is that you're giving this Arsenal team any sort of sniff. And I'm not saying they'll win every game, I don't think they will. But my annoyance in all this is, brilliant position, but it's absolutely okay to turn around and go, you know what, that isn't good enough. And I don't think it was good enough for Everton. I don't think it was good enough at Wolves or against Wolves, and I don't think it was good enough at Villa. But a kick of a ball either way, and we're probably sitting here going, you know what, we've 9 points instead of 5. That's probably it. But Kev, Liverpool's approach to this, because, and I'll let you both in on it, but I'll go to Kev first. Liverpool's approach to this is, and I always say going into these big games, please don't fucking play the occasion. Play what's in front of you. You know, City are going to come out and try have a go and get that crowd up as much as their crowd get up. And they're going to try pen you in and they're going to try dictate the game, right? But Liverpool, should their approach be here, Kev, go at them? Or should it be, no, play a game, be solid defensively, because if we can get these on the turn, I think they'll have City in trouble. Because when I look at City, I get Gonzalez coming in, I get all that. I'm not too sure on the centre-half, but that's not probably fair because he's a young centre-half coming into the Premier League. But when I look at City, I just think straight balls down the side, any interplay between one or two front men, and they look all over the place. what should Liverpool's approach be here before we start naming teams? What way would
Well,
you
look,
like to go and see them?
I went
Because
back and
sorry,
watched the
Kev, because
highlight.
a lot of people will tell you go solid, clean sheets is where we need to get back to.
No.
Okay.
It's the way I look at you look at what we did in the first game against City. Absolutely dominated them. Not the ball, but we dominated them. Van Dijk could have had a hat trick that day.
Yeah.
He had two really good. Ashley's going to hate it. Two really good corners, two really good chances, and he had another
Really
one as well.
interesting fact about that I learned today. So remind me when you
I'll
come back to
remind you in
me.
a minute. But I think Salah missed the one-on-one that he just clipped over Ederson. But a lot of the success that we had that game was winning it high up, putting pressure on their centre backs to win it high up. I don't think we changed too much than what we normally do, but I think we'll look to be more direct. Go from back to front quickly. Look to use pace in behind them and test them. The way that they're likely to line up, I think they have a decision to make at centre back. They have a decision to make at right back. Left back is probably a lock for them. But every side that's had success against Man City this season has been able to turn them around, turn their centre backs, and ask their midfielders to chase. They brought in, I think his name is Gonzalez, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's a solid 6. Loves a tackle. Just play it over his head. You can't tackle the ball if it's in the air over his head. There's nothing you can do about it. Ask him to run and chase and harry. But there's no shocks in what Man City are going to do for what this Liverpool squad have already seen it. There's no surprises in it. So they know what they're going to be facing. They know what the test is. They know it's a tough place to go. But they also know how to get a result, and they have it fresh in their heads from the way they played at Anfield. They know that performance is still in them. They also know that City are anything but consistent this season. They've lost 7 games this season, and they had a horrible run for them. That's just, you really don't see that kind of run happening for them. But that's how I'd look for Salah in over the top as much as possible. Isolate the fullback, get runners around him, press their centre backs, force them to make decisions. But there are going to be times when we're going to have to defend properly, defend in a proper shape. And, you have to do that side of the game too. But it'll all depend on what they do. And I'm really interested to see if Haaland is fit enough to start. Because part of me is more worried about City if he doesn't start.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
I think he's easier for Van Dijk and Konate to deal with than Marmoush. I think Marmoush on his own with a free roll to be able to drift left, drop deep, and look to get on the ball and it played with a lot of interplay. I think that could be more trouble for us rather than having Haaland up front and Marmoush off of the wing looking to play for second balls and looking for someone for Haaland to flick him inside. I'd be more worried if Haaland doesn't play.
Does play.
Or if Haaland, no, I'd be more
you'd be more
worried
if the Haaland doesn't play.
I'd be more worried if he doesn't play.
Yeah.
If he does play, I think, look, what they did to Newcastle, what Marmoush did with Haaland's playing almost like a pair, like a 2 up front. They actually looked like a perfect fit. Haaland would occupy the centre backs. Marmoush would just look for the space, and he's very good at finding it. And poor Kieran Trippier must have been having nightmares for days after that game, because Marmoush gave him an absolute torrid time.
Yeah,
and we know that Trent can have that kind of game as well. So, yeah, it's not going to be easy. But I think the best way to play against City, is to turn them on their hind legs and make them defend.
Yeah, go on, Kev.
No, that was it. I just say I look to be direct. Look to use what we are good at is our pace, and hopefully Trent's passing is on point. Van Dijk, you know what you're going to get with him with his passing. Most of the time, his passing from deep is very good, but you need Trent to be on a similar level, and then you can force them to not be compact. Once you can force them not to be compact, then you can play through midfield and you can keep the ball and look to create space that way. But if you allow them to be compact and try to play like tiki-taka football through their midfield, it'll be a long day.
Yeah. Actually, I'm when I look back at Man City, and in particular I look at them at home, because this is a home game for them, and they do approach home games in very, this is the way we play and stuff like that. Two stood out for me. The one where they beat Chelsea, and the one where they're taken apart by Spurs, right? And in both games, I watched the entire Spurs game, and the entire Chelsea game. They happened to be on, because I usually wouldn't go looking for to watch these teams. But with Spurs, what Spurs said to themselves was, right, where are they vulnerable? They're vulnerable through the middle of the park, and they're vulnerable at the back, right? Down, I would say, in the channels between full back and centre back, and Spurs just exploited that. Patient, stayed in shape, made sure when they won the ball they had an outlet. The first pass was a good outlet, and then they played from there, and that was what Spurs done. And they won. Was it 4? They won it. Yeah, I think it was 4.
I don't know.
And the one with Chelsea was funny, because they win the game at home to Chelsea. I think they might win it 3-1. But they're 1-0 down, and they should be 3-0 down. Right? And all that was happening in the game was Chelsea were going, right, we'll pass. And when we lose it, we're going to fall back in. And when we win it, then we're hitting a focal point, which was Nicholas Jackson. And then I think that's his name, because I always get his name wrong. Is that his right name? Yeah. Okay. I always call him Jackson Martinez, the guy that used to play for Porto all the time. And what it was, you wouldn't think of Nicholas Jackson as your best focal point in the team, but the thing was, he was a focal point in the sense that they were getting the ball to him while he was moving. Not into his feet, while he was moving, and his pace was moving Chelsea up the pitch, and then he was just cutting back and looking for runners who Chelsea had and City couldn't keep up with. So, while I'd love Liverpool to go out and go, right, no, we're on top of these, we're going to pen these in, we're going to do this, I'd like to see Liverpool go in and go, we're not going to be pragmatic, we're not going to sit back and, play dead here. But I'd love Liverpool to turn around and go, we're not conceding here. We're not conceding. And when we win it, we want to get it to Salah. We want to get it to a Jota. I want Diaz to play, by the way. I'm giving that away before we go on. I want to get it to a Diaz, and I want them with pace moving, particularly the two wide lads. And then I want to see our midfielders joining in and making runs, and not all the time getting it. That would be my approach. Liverpool's approach for you, is it different? Is it one way you want to go in and go, no, they're dangerous here, and here, and we're going to have to take the danger out by pushing onto them and making them be worried at the back from early on?
I think that we're going to be the ones that set the pace in this game. I think what I saw in that Villa game was kind of a renewed. I think it was a little bit to do with the shift in formation, but the passages of play between our midfielders and our forwards felt reminiscent of the beginning of the season, when it looked really almost telepathic, where fluid. The players knew exactly where they were running, and the spacing off of one another was really deliberate and purposeful. I think that upper part of the pitch is where we're going to have the most joy. I think we are always going to have a scenario, especially with Marmoush, if Haaland plays, you're going to have a scenario where we're going to have to suffer in the back and really depend on Virgil and Konate to clean up. There will be messes to clean up. They will need to be dominant in the air. They will need to bully those players and really stake their authority there. I think going forward, if Gundogan is going to play in the midfield, that to me is a clear weakness. If Stones is out, if Ake is out, there's defensive holes there that can definitely be targeted. And I want to see those kind of close controlled little triangles that we were using for, the first 20 minutes of Villa to great effect. I want to see that again. And I want to put them on the back foot right away and stomp it out. Because I think what happened I didn't watch the entirety of the Madrid game because our game was going on concurrently. But I think what happened with the Madrid game is they scored really early and it immediately put them on the back foot. And they have sort of like a fledgling confidence that they've created with this, new team and whatever. But you can squish it really quickly and make them fall back into old patterns. And if we can do that, I think that's where we can have the upper hand. like mentally and physically on the pitch. So that's what I would look to do. I'm curious to see if Slot stays with. I don't think he's going to stay with the 4 midfielders, but I do wonder if one of our forward players kind of drops back and really floods that midfield again. I think that could be quite interesting. I think most of the lineup probably speaks for itself, but I definitely think that there are weaknesses in their lineup that we can really exploit.
We've spoken a bit already as well about their strengths. Like I've mentioned De Bruyne, and De Bruyne can turn around on any day. But my thing with De Bruyne is if it gets into a running game, I just don't see De Bruyne having anymore. And De Bruyne used to be an incredible runner. He had incredible energy up and down, but you can see by him now with the injuries are taking its toll. He doesn't want to be running up and down, and I think that's why, if for argument's sake, if De Bruyne plays, I think City will look to be high up the pitch, try pen us in. But when they're high up the pitch, they look so vulnerable to stuff, and it just doesn't feel like it's the right mix. Foden is a fantastic player. Had a poor start to the season, but has come on a little bit as the season's gone. He's a brilliant footballer, and he's still young enough. He feels like he's around 10 years, but he's not. He's a fantastic footballer. I don't like your man Savinho, but he's improved in the last while, probably because he's probably started shooting. Doku likes to give us problems. Marmouche has looked really good in the Premier League, particularly since he's come in, but that's probably an unknown quantity kind of thing. And Liverpool have players that play with him there all the time in Salah, and they'll probably have to give a little bit more of homework to Arne Slot and the staff than maybe others have. They have got absolute threats. They're threats from set pieces. They absolutely are. But Liverpool have to be very aware of that. Liverpool have to be. I just like them to be decisive in what they're doing, and I keep using this word all season. And if you look at the first goal in particular, we can see there's two headers here and headers there. I just want someone to be decisive. I'm heading this fucking out for a corner. I'm heading it as far as I can. And look, it's unlucky at times. Ball can pinball around. I just feel over the last little while Liverpool have been a little bit. I don't know if it's hesitant in defending and I don't want to say it's kind of overconfident in defending. I don't know if it is. It's just something that's bugging me, but I'm probably wrong in letting it bug me.
For me, the first goal that we conceded against Villa, Szoboszlai can't get any power in that header. He just can't. There's no power on the ball for him to get a header on. He just couldn't have fallen to a worse player. But Alisson should have claimed that, 100%. The second one, Watkins ran off 2 players.
Yeah.
He ran off 2 players, and he got his goal above all players. You cannot have Ollie Watkins running off you and you not screaming your head off at the next guy to pick him up.
Yeah.
And that, for me, the second goal was atrocious.
Yeah.
But saying all of that, you finish your dinner. We're coming out of that 4-2, 5-2.
Oh yeah, 100%. And that's a massive.
That's
thing.
football. That's the way it goes. That's why I think
100%. And and to be fair, I get the argument. If we do this, I 100% get that, especially when the chances we miss. But this is why when I say we're not good enough in both boxes, we aren't good enough in both boxes. Just aren't. Even if you give them the first goal, it's unfortunate. The second one really annoyed me because he's standing there and defenders are standing face up to him and he just moves 5 yards and then they're all standing looking at him. What is he doing? But look, that's gone now. It's
done.
Yeah, it's this game and we can't look back. We have to keep looking forward.
One thing you can look at how City are likely to line up though. You look at the Champions League game, right? They lined up in a 4-4-2, which is weird for them. But it was 4 midfielders, Savinho and Marmouche. But Savinho was trying to play close to Marmouche. You had not 4 across the midfield, but they were narrow. And Madrid just toyed with them. They really did. And this isn't a great Madrid side. Despite what that result says, they're not a great side. They're not the Madrid side of the last 3 or 4 years. They're missing a lot of key players. And that game was only 3-2. And Guardiola chucked that one. He absolutely chucked that
I thought he did during the week, yeah.
And
you wonder why he did.
I don't know. I honestly
I think if City go at 5 points from 9 from now to the end of the season, they'll get in the top 4.
Yeah.
They get in the top 4 or 5, it won't be. But it was weird how he done it. But he probably, you say he chucked it, but when you look at the
I don't know if the player, this is it. I
The
don't know
players
if
he had
he's got.
available on the pitch, did they perform? No. That's
I
the
don't
answer.
know if he's got. If I think he knows what players he's got, and I think he knows what's in the tank for these players.
Yeah.
And it doesn't sound like a long time. You're at the end of February now. You've got March, April, May, 3 months. In that 3 months, I think they're still in the FA Cup. They're out of Europe now, but they've potentially got an FA Cup run, and they've got 12 Premier League games.
They've probably got 6 Premier League wins to secure,
Yeah.
7 Premier League wins secures your top
They
4
should.
now.
They'll have enough. They'll have enough there to get top 4. And it doesn't even need top 4. I reckon top 5. But they should get third. They really and truly should lock up third fairly handy. But I wonder how much they've got in the legs to be able to. I think this is probably they've been playing 3 games a week now for a while. I suppose this is the advantage of us not having to play the playoff in the Champions League. Yes, we had Premier League games chucked in there, but City have had to play the same minutes as we've had to play, and arguably more intense minutes. So and they don't have. They just look like they don't have the legs. Yeah, they had a really good performance against Newcastle at home, done really well. They struggled against Leyton Orient to get it over the line. They won it 2-1 in the end. It was, and that was, they made changes, but it wasn't savage changes.
It'll be. I think it's the sort of game that when you see the first 15 minutes, it'll probably lay the blueprint for the rest of the game.
Yeah,
That's what it feels like to me. I think if Liverpool come out and go, we're not conceding. We've had enough conceding goals. We're not conceding because we'll back ourselves to do you on the break. It might seem something like that. Whereas I think if Liverpool get on top of them, I think, and score, I think I'd be amazed if Liverpool go 1-0 up in this game and don't win it. That'd be my thing, because I think City will have to push, and I think City's frailties for me are they're playing a high line and they've no fucking right to. They've no right to the way they're pressing the ball in midfield, and the lack of pace, to be fair, in the back. It's alarming.
Well, how many times do we see it with Liverpool on the clock when you saw the problems when you weren't getting pressure on the ball?
Yes. And then two centre halves were dealing with 4
height.
fellas. Yeah, and it's even if you go back to the first leg against Man City or against Madrid, they go 1-0 up, right? But they should be 3-0 down.
Yeah,
like Madrid looked like scoring every time they went forward, and that was from holding possession and trying to play around them, or just going bang, 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 4 passes up the pitch, and it was like, where is everybody gone? But it's still it's a big game. Look. The way it goes, if Liverpool lose on Sunday, and they'll still be top of the league, you know what I mean? Regardless of what happens, it's all about taking each game as it comes, taking your points as they come.
Worst case scenario, okay, Arsenal win tomorrow.
Yeah.
We lose. Arsenal go on and win their game in hand.
Yeah.
They still have to come to Anfield and win.
Yeah.
But it's tighter than it should be.
Yeah.
That's worse, but that's absolute worst case scenario.
Yeah.
But
let me ask you this, Kev. Let me ask you this. Look, we were all flying, right? We were all flying, and why wouldn't we be? We're having a fucking deadly season, right? When we all thought, geez, get top 4, new manager, blah, 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 right? And we haven't signed anyone, and what are they doing? If I offered you 2 points clear of Arsenal going into the game against Arsenal at Anfield, you take it?
I'd be pissed right off.
But you take it?
I'd have no choice but to take it, but I'd be pissed off about it.
Yeah. But
I'd be pissed off.
But this, and in fairness, this is what the traditional title race looks like.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? It's been so fucking. It's been so turned on its head in the last 5 or 6 years. It's untrue. But anyway, let's get down to the important bits where Ashley tells us who's going to start with Liverpool and what score it's going to be and who's going to score and how happy we're going to be Sunday night, and how enjoyable it's going to be to do the post-match reaction. Oh, Jesus Christ, this is like jail. Ashley.
You guys are so into this, like, put the cart, or what is it? Put the horse before the cart thing, where you're starting to put Arsenal wins on the board already. I mean, they play Forest next week. That's no joke.
That's Jordan.
Like,
is that the same night we play Newcastle?
It's the 26th. So Wednesday.
Yeah.
So don't go handing out free points.
Oh
to
no!
Arsenal.
All
They
I'm saying is,
still
if
have to show up.
when we were 6 clear of the game in hand, we were kind of going, that could be 9. But we're 8 clear and they have a game in hand, that could be 5. That's all I'm saying. It could be. Don't know. We'll see how it goes.
I mean,
Yeah.
I said the other day, it's not going to be a cakewalk. It's going to be much more like a harkening back to the original title runs, where it's, you know, things go up, things go down, points go up, points go down. You know, I hope that we don't see a scenario where Arsenal overtake us, but, you know, like, God forbid that happens. But there's plenty of time left in the season. There's plenty of games left. So again, don't go spiraling. Let's go to lineups.
Just to say, right, if Liverpool win all their home games, forget anything else, just win all their home games, I think that would give them 83 points.
I think Arsenal have to win out every single game if we win all our home games. And I think it's 7 of the last 11 that we have are home games.
Yeah.
So
it's going to be interesting. It's going to be fucking great,
it'll
isn't
be
it?
interesting. There's a lot of different things going on. Just
I don't know anyone who's going to enjoy this.
Why?
I don't. Oh no, I cannot enjoy this.
Can you not?
I can enjoy it after.
No,
I can enjoy it. I'll enjoy it after.
You see, I think
when
there's a
you're
difference.
in it, I get all tense and
No,
sick.
I think that, you see, there's a difference here, right? I think it runs on kind of 2 frequencies for me, right? The top frequency is the buzz of it, right? And the bottom frequency, and the buzz is kind of a more level, it stays at the same kind of frequency all the way across the top. And at the bottom, the frequency goes fucking bananas, right? Where it's like, oh, the missed chance, oh, the goal we conceded, oh, that pass, blah, 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 blah. Whereas, like, you know, when like, say after Wolves, I was like, Jesus Christ, what is going on in the second half? But the enjoyment and the frequency at the top stays there after. You're going to go, still in this, brilliant, you know. And even after Villa the other night, I was fuming after Villa the other night. But even while I was fuming, at the same time, I was like, yeah, but we're 8 points clear. This is fucking brilliant. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Look, it brings out the best and worst in everyone. But for me personally, when I'm watching a game, I get a feel for how the game's going to go. You know, very, very early on. But there's nothing beats a late winner. And the other one is when you see whoever's chasing you or whoever you're chasing, when you see them drop points. I can enjoy it Monday morning, but I tell you what, I'm like that. Honestly, I'm on tenterhooks all the way through it.
Yeah.
But when it's done, I'll look back and I'll be able to breathe.
Yeah.
Until then, it's like, I mean, my worst time really watching Liverpool was us chasing Man City for, you know, and you losing out by a point, because I couldn't enjoy any of the games. I genuinely couldn't sit back and just enjoy a game of football because there was so much on it. I was so invested in it. If there was an interview came on the radio and it was someone else talking about Liverpool and we'd lost, turn the fucking thing on. I couldn't listen to it. Yeah. I couldn't watch Sky. I couldn't watch Sky Sports News if there was someone talking about it. I just had to turn it off. I have to walk away from it.
Like, for the longest time, whenever we do well, like, I love listening to podcasts after we do well. But for some reason, like, this last little blip over the past couple of weeks has left me kind of like feeling quite negative. But like, you forget in the grand scheme of things, like, where you are, that you are 8 points clear, and that, you know, this team is so far ahead of schedule, that Slot is so far ahead of schedule, that, you know, all of this is very much, you know, bonus territory at this point. And, you know, I keep having to remind myself to enjoy it, because I've said this before, when we did win the title, I was so nervous the entire time that I didn't get to enjoy it. I didn't get to enjoy any of it. And so I don't think it's about toxic positivity at all, because I think that's its own problem in and of itself. But I do think it's about, you know, trying to stay with that perspective and not letting, like, the media wants us to feel like we are getting dragged back into it. The media wants us to feel like Liverpool is having a really shit moment in the season and that everything's going to come crumbling down, because they want that. That will make for fantastic television. But just, you know, take everything with a pinch of salt, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, my attitude always is, when you're ahead, brilliant. If you're level, brilliant. And if you're a little bit behind, you still have a chance. And that's why, and that's probably down to experience with,
Yeah.
running away with a league in 1920, chasing City in 18-19, chasing them down in, was it 21-22? And they're all mad scenarios, but that's what you're in it for. That's what you're in it for. Like, you're never like swapping that for, yeah, we're fucking in fourth and we're 9 points clear of the fella in fifth. You're just not. It's fucking boring.
No.
You know what I mean? It leads to great nights the following season, but overall it's boring. Sorry, Ashley, we've gone on a man tangent there, right? Give me a lineup.
I'm sorry.
Where are you going?
Lineup. Okay, let's start. Alisson, Becker in goal. Virgil and Konate start. Trent starts because Bradley's injured. I think you could make an argument, but I think Robertson is going to start. I think he trusts Robertson just like ever so slightly more than Tsimikas in terms of defensively. Midfield, I think, looks the same. I think it's McAllister, Gravenberch, Szoboszlai. I think Jota starts in the 9. I think Mo Salah starts on the right. I think, your one question mark is, does Diaz start, or did we really enjoy seeing that Jones performance? I don't know where Diaz is in terms of fitness. Like, I think we were talking the other day, like, is he carrying something? Is he tired? I think there's probably a conversation to have about that. That's probably the only toss-up. I don't think Nunes gets a look in for the starting lineup. I think, he might get, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes at the end to cause chaos if he needs to. I'm going to go scoreline 2-1 Liverpool. I still think we don't keep clean sheet. It seems like it's just not something that we're prioritizing right now. I wish we were. But yeah, I think we can outscore them. I really do. I think we can put them on the back foot early. I don't know. I think that this is a good opportunity to kind of get this last 2 weeks out of the system and, again, just be like, you know what? We do mean business. Screw the media narrative. We're going forward from here.
Are you going with Diaz, Jota, Salah?
I think so. So.
I'm doing the same. I'll let Kev go last. I'm doing the same. Exact same team. And I'm not against the idea of Diaz going in centrally and Jota coming out left, because Jota is very intelligent when he moves on that left-hand side and just finding little pockets and getting chances and stuff like that. It's such a hard place to go to for Liverpool. It really is. And, I'm being given out to by Lucio in the chat for saying what if this and what if that, but I'm going to fucking say it again. Fuck off, Lucio, annoy me. I'm only messing with you, by the way, Jesus. But it would be a massive win for Liverpool. It'd be a massive win to turn around and go, you know what, we're absolutely fine with 5 points. We're absolutely fine with 5, but you have to go and make it 5. I think it'd be an absolutely huge win for Liverpool. I don't think there's a better time, even though Liverpool aren't in the best of form. I don't think there's been a better time to go to Man City in possibly the last decade, right? At any stage, bar maybe 3 months ago. But I think it'd be huge for Liverpool. I think it's a very even game in terms of we are going away, but they've had a tough trip to Spain. They haven't had the best of times. The style we play against what they play, they won't like it. I don't think they will like it. And I'm going to back Liverpool. I am going to back them. People have said to me during the week, would you take a point? Don't know. It all depends when it gets to the end of the game and you go, yeah, you know what, point's not too bad there. But I'm going to back Liverpool. Why not? And I'm with you on it. I think if you win that, it is a kind of it. We're okay here. We're okay. And see all that before us. We've gone and done that, and that's going to push us on again. I'm going to go 3-1 Liverpool. Did you give scorers? Actually, you cheating? I don't think you did.
You know what? I'm going to give Mo Salah because Mo Salah loves scoring against Man City, and I think Jota gets on the board because I think we were giving him a little bit of critique. The number 9s were getting some critique. I think Jota just needs to run of games, and if he can stay fit, I think he can be deadly.
I'm going to go Salah. I'm going to go Szoboszlai. And yeah, I'll give Jota one. Jota feels like he has the movement that could hurt him. But again, Jota needs to step up a bit for me. So I'd love to see Jota just bang one. So I'm going to go 3-1 the Reds. that might seem like, Jesus, he's very optimistic, but that's what I'm going with. Fuck it, we're in it to win it. Kev, what are you going with?
Yeah, I think Costas will probably start.
Right,
I just
and you
think
wouldn't
this.
argue against it.
Yeah,
No.
I just think it's more of a freshness thing than anything else. I can make a strong case for starting Endo over Gravenberch
Yeah, you
because
could.
I think Gravenberch has looked ropey the last 3 games. And Ashley, you made a great point the other night when you were talking about the number of minutes played.
Yeah.
And Gakpo is almost at the stage now, at this time of the season, to hit the most minutes he's ever played in a season since his debut season at Ajax. And he looks like he's suffering a bit for it. And I think it wouldn't do anyone any harm to have Endo in there as a 6, just to block off the middle of the park, be that man in front of Haaland, stop that ball into his feet, and to be an annoying pest to De Bruyne or anyone who comes into that space in front of the 2 centre backs. I think he's very disciplined, and if you ask him to do that, I think he can do that. But I don't think he will. I think he'll go with Gravenberch,
I think
McAllister.
he'd look to get Gravenberch on that half turn
Yeah,
I
and get
think
in
it was
and get
also
into that
telling the
them
way that
areas.
he spoke about Gravenberch in the press conference, where he made a point of calling out the fact that there's very few players in the world that can play that position and have a 10 out of 10 game every single match. He said that, he acknowledged the fact that Gravenberch did not have his best match, but that he's young, he's learning, and that he has the ceiling to be one of those players that has a 10 out of 10
yeah,
game. And I did just throw in the numbers. There's definitely something. It says gray and meant to be. It's supposed to say grabby, but whatever. There is a conversation to be had about managing his minutes, but when you hear Slot talk, it's very interesting the way he talks about managing minutes. He speaks about playing games as a way of gaining fitness rather than resting as a way of gaining fitness. And it doesn't seem like he is one of those people that likes to take players out for large chunks of time. So I don't see that happening. I do think that if you're going to play Endo, it's going to have to be a strategic, like 60-minute kind of thing. I actually think there's an argument at some point to experiment with having Gravenberch and Endo play together, where maybe they could take some of the burden off one another. So, because I actually think they have sort of a yin to a yang thing, where one of their strengths might actually play very well against one of their weaknesses. But yeah, that's just my perspective.
yeah. The other decision is about Cody Gakpo. How fit is he?
Yeah,
Is
I
I
he?
don't
think
think
it's
he's
looking like
trained.
maybe the
Yeah,
bench. I think.
yeah. I think if he's on the bench, you'd like to see him get 30 minutes towards the end. But the reason why I mentioned it the other night with Luis Diaz played all of the game against Plymouth, I think,
Yeah,
and he was the only one to do it. He played 3 games back to back, and maybe that's why he was taken out of the firing line the other night against Villa. But his pace could be key against whoever is playing at right back for City, which is likely to be either Nunes or your man Rico Lewis.
yeah,
And the young fella, what's his name, Kushinov, or
yeah.
Yep.
he's more than likely going to have to play at centre back, and he's got raw pace. He's really quick, but discipline wise, you wonder what he'd be like if he had Jota sniffing around him, drawing him around, and looking to link up off him, pull him away from Diaz. I think at least we're going into the game. We have options. I still haven't mentioned who could play Szoboszlai or Jones or both. He's got options. It could go anyway. I think we'll win it, but I think it'll be tight. I think 2-0. I think it'll be the same as the last game. I think we're due to score from a corner. I think Virgil, when I watched back the first leg, I cannot believe how he missed some of the chances that he missed. But I look at the way Man City defend set pieces, and if you get the delivery anywhere near right, Virgil always gets chances against them. Even the last game at Anfield, but most seasons he either threatens the goal or he scores in this game. So I fancy him to get one. I think Salah keeps his run up. I think Salah is looking to in the season as top scorer, and he'd love nothing more than to get on the score sheet there.
2-0. Okay. A lot of people are calling on the draw, are saying the draw, and it's hard to argue. There's a lot of draws in this game, and considering the situation both teams are in at the minute, I think it draws, if you're putting money on, the draw is probably the sensible one to go for. But we're not sensibles, we're idiots. And we're going for the win. So
For yourself.
well, I'm an idiot. These two probably aren't. Davey T says 2-1. Allison 94th minute winner. Oh my God! Remember, I was only thinking. You know what? My daughter asked me about this. My daughter asked me about this the other day. She said to me, "Do you remember the Allison goal?" So she's got into football recently. In the last 6-7 months, she's really got into it. And she said, "Do you know the Allison goal? Where were you when that happened?" I said, "I'll tell you where I was. I was in the sitting room watching it, right? And he came up for a corner. There was no one in the ground. We needed it. We kind of needed it. And it went in, and I went ballistic on my own in the sitting room, windows open." And she was like, "Just on your own?" I said, "Yeah, just fucking bananas, like all over the sitting room."
You didn't go bananas. You were not doing it right.
Oh, it was just. I remember even our WhatsApp group. It was just people typing in. They were just mashing their fingers onto the screen with all letters everywhere. Yeah. And
I was listening to it.
She reminded me that the other day. It was good when she reminded me of it.
I was listening to it on the radio. I couldn't watch it. It wasn't on TV, as far as I remember. And
it was a 3:00 Saturday.
Yeah, but it wasn't a televised game.
No.
So I couldn't watch it. So I was listening to, because I think 96 FM down here in Cork have the radio commentary on their app. So I was listening to that. And the fella who does the basketball commentary was on the game.
Right.
And I have never heard
the fella that does the basketball commentary for the Olympics for Ireland. He's one of the greatest men of all time.
I tell you what, and I've asked the producer of the show to see if I could get the commentary, and they don't have it. They don't have the audio file of that goal for whatever reason. And I've asked him for it. He sent me loads of stuff, but I haven't been able to get it.
Right.
And
someone's got to have it recorded on some device somewhere.
Yeah, I'd love to get it. To get it.
Yeah, we're going for wins. I'm liking it.
Before I lose that weird fact that I was talking about with set pieces, because I do want to mention it, I will forget. I was reading an article today in the Tompkins Times that reminded me of something that I forgot. And I've been looking at, everyone knows that set pieces are my pet peeve. What I didn't realize is the coach that did not get international clearance to come to Liverpool was the set piece coach. Slot had a set piece coach in mind to come to Liverpool. His name is Reiners. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. I'm probably butchering it. He was the set piece coach at Feyenoord. And he was the one that was in charge of all the set pieces at Feyenoord. He was not able to get a work permit to come. I did not realize that until I read that today. So credit where credit is due for that article. Also, it's just a little piece of information in terms of like maybe why it's not coming off for us. Because in terms of our XG and everything, from open play, we are very much exceeding, our historical XG. We are doing much better than the Klopp years and everything, but in terms of set pieces, we are like rock bottom. It is so low. So again, I'm not giving excuses, but it was something that I read today that I just thought was very interesting. It felt like a missing piece of the puzzle as to why they're so bad. It's because the guy that Slot trusts for set pieces is not here, and he tried to bring him, and it didn't work out. So there's definitely a role there. I am curious to see if he brings that coach in for next year, if he can get clearance, because holy fuck, we could definitely improve it.
Absolutely. Jonathan says, didn't we have an ad in the paper last May for a set piece coach? Did we?
We did.
I would say if we had an ad in the paper, I reckon about 11 fellas off Twitter said, you know what, I could do that. 11 fellas with players as their profile pictures went for that job. really hope that's true. But somebody says, before we go, and we will do it quick because we were meant to be out of here 15 minutes ago because we never hit the target we go for. Just quick thoughts on the Champions League. PSG in the round of 16, possibly Bruges or Villa in the what will be a quarter final, and then Jesus, the teams are mental in the semi final. Ashley, happy with it? Was them or Benfica?
I think that we got the hardest possible side of the draw. I think that in terms of like getting first in the group, we got absolutely shit all because we didn't even get home advantage, which is crazy. I thought that was one of those guaranteed things. We don't.
We did for the first. We did for the first leg. For the first.
Well, not for this round of 16.
For the PSG game we did. We get the second leg at home.
Yeah, we get the second leg at home against PSG, and then we're at home in the fourth.
I stand corrected. I stand corrected there, but still, I feel like the way that things settled, it made me feel like going forward in this competition, top 8 is all you need to aim for. Like anything above 8, there's nothing at all that differentiates.
They have to relook at that. They have to relook at it. They need to relook.
It should absolutely be seated.
Yeah.
But
anyway, it's PSG.
But, it's glamorized. Yeah. I feel like we face PSG all the fucking time. And the same thing with Real Madrid. I feel like it's always the same teams.
Yeah.
Like I want to face a new team.
We're possibly going to have to beat PSG, Aston Villa, and Real Madrid to get to a final.
Yeah, but, I don't think that's any harder.
I've no problem.
I think that it was 50-50 who we got. I don't mind PSG because anytime they've played a side that's on their level this season, they've struggled. Bayern, Arsenal, both beat them. They're a good young side. They are. They've got some serious quality up front. Barcola, Kvaratskhelia, and Ousmane Dembele is in the form of his life at the minute. They've got some really technical midfielders. I mean, nobody would have thought that Vitinha, when he was at Wolves, would end up the player that he is now at PSG. But at the same time, they do not get tested in their domestic league at all. And just like when Bayern were running away with the Bundesliga and just having it all their own way, when it got to a certain stage in Europe, they were exposed. I think that's the same with this PSG side. I think when they play against sides who are on their level or better, they don't have the same kind of they don't have the battle-ready players that are used to grinding it, and I think we can get through that one. I think Villa could have a handful against Bruges. That's not an easy game by any stretch, and this is uncharted territory for Villa.
But uncharted, but I think really exciting for them. I think
exciting for them big time.
Yeah, Villa look at that and go, Jesus, we could have got. But Bruges is.
I think
really
there was an article that came out today though that said that they're going to be in clear breach next year of UEFA rules. So there's going to be a big fine for them coming forward
Villa.
if they do. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Interesting. Okay. I'm sure once this season finishes, everyone will be looking towards. Is it June the 30th when you have to have all the finances in again and all the crack kicks off?
The days have been announced for the fixtures as well. Our game in Paris, and above all, what a nightmare for the travelling fans, by the way, to have to go to fucking Paris, is on Wednesday, March the 5th, and the return leg is on Tuesday, March the 11th.
Yeah.
Both 8 o'clock kickoffs.
Which Davey points out is 5 days before the Carabao Cup final, and Davey, as a Newcastle fan, hopes that we have to give it all against them. Davey, listen, we love this gear. Like, honestly, Liverpool do genuinely they just end up thriving on it. Going, Champions League. They actually do. And
the one thing I could do without is the 3 Arsenal games in a row if Arsenal was to get through, because I think there is a point where
we'd play Arsenal Wednesday, wouldn't we?
Yeah, that would drive me bananas.
We've had this before though. Didn't we have something similar with Man City?
We did, and I just don't like it.
Did we not play? I think we played City about 5 times in about 10 days one season. Just for the sake of it. But anyway, look, it was them or Benfica. The way the draw has fallen, if you were on the other side, you'd be kind of going, wow. But You have to beat really fucking good teams if you want
It's
to go and win
never
this.
easy. If you're
Never ever
Liverpool.
easy. And
Never.
the funny thing is, if you look at the other side of the draw, you're looking going, oh, they got it easy. And there's always one in
They
there
really
where you go,
don't.
Jesus, they've gone out, and all of a sudden
I mean,
it's a bit of a
the other
weird on
side,
that side of the group. So on
yeah,
that
the
side
other
of the
side of
draw,
the draw, you've got an all German clash, Bayer Leverkusen, Bayern Munich, Barcelona, Benfica. That's not going to be a walkover.
Did Barcelona?
Inter against.
Did Barcelona play Benfica in the group stage?
I don't know.
I
mean,
thought
we
they played
played
with the league
Madrid in
and
the
won
group
like
stage.
5-4 or something.
Was it them? Was it?
I thought it was.
It might be. I don't know.
I'm nearly sure Barcelona played Benfica and they won 5-4. Oh no, it wasn't. It was Sporting Lisbon.
It was Sporting Lisbon,
It was
yeah.
Sporting Lisbon.
And they
Sorry,
came
my
and
apologies.
they came back. Didn't
Yeah.
they? They
It
came back
was
late.
mad.
They
Like,
came back late.
or was it
I
Benfica? I
think
don't know.
there's plenty of good ties in this. There's
Sorry,
good
people are saying
games.
yes to me. They did. It
I think
was
they
them.
did play them. Yeah.
Yeah, 5-4.
Well,
So there you go. Like, so
and-
that'll be a bleeding mad game. You know.
Yeah,
So
the handy thing is as well. I think the Bruges Villa game is the early kickoff on a Tuesday. Feyenoord and Inter Milan is the early kickoff on the Wednesday. Barcelona Benfica is the early one on the following Tuesday. Lille against Dortmund is the early one on the following Wednesday.
yeah.
So
Loads
you
of
know,
games.
loads of good
Bayern beat
good games.
Leverkusen? I don't think Bayern has beat Leverkusen yet.
Well, Leverkusen
They
played
played them in
Bayern.
the league.
They played them in the league last weekend, I think, and Leverkusen hopped off them and a 0-0 draw. Like literally, Bayern, I think, had 2 shots all game.
I think Kane went off injured. in that
Yeah,
as well, I think.
it was mad.
I'm not sure they've beaten them in the recent iteration that they are.
Yeah, well, they were beaten by them twice last season in the league, and they've drawn with them now. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens in that. But there's loads. There'll be definitely one where you go, they'll go through, and they won't. And then it'll be all Jesus. That's throwing everything.
As long as it's not us.
No, we'll have a lovely time, and whatever happens. Just go and see where we end up.
I mean, to me, the Champions League is the icing, is the cream and the icing on the cake. You know, the longer you go into it, great. I can enjoy that, but the league is where it's all at.
But the thing here is, Kev, this is last 16, right? You go out in the last 16, you go, look.
Yeah,
you go out in the quarters, you go, look. But if you go out in a semi, Kev,
nightmare.
No,
nightmare.
it's fucking horrible. So, look, we'll see how it goes. That's a little bit down the road. Liverpool have games in between.
Not far off. It's not far off.
No, it'd be quick. It's flying in. Should see the end of February already.
I feel like they've just snuck up on me. Like the playoff games snuck up on me where like there was one day where I didn't even realize they were happening.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that's today.
Yeah.
And now this feels like it's right around the corner. There's no like chunk of time off, and I'm used to having like a at least in the old format where there were a couple weeks where you're like, oh, no Champions League for a little while.
No. This is just they've
Not like
gotten
that
as
anymore.
many games in as they possibly can.
It's just absolutely chock-a-block.
Yeah, and listen, you'd rather that than no like one game a week. One game a week is horrible. You're kind of going, geez, another 7 days till you watch the Reds. So I've no problem with the loads of games, and the more games you have, the more after 40 are going. In fairness, we're gonna go. That has been your Man City preview. Thanks for everyone for watching, liking, subscribing, all that stuff. Tomorrow we will have a member show tomorrow at 4:30. 4:30 in the afternoon. Where we're going to focus on the last 20 minutes of the 3 o'clock games. We're going to bring you all the news from them, all the action, reaction, and everything else. It's something that our members have asked for quite a while, so we're going to do it. It starts tomorrow, and hopefully it will be an on-running thing as we go. On Sunday, you will have the post-match reaction at about 6:45, I think, and you will have your Sunday night show at 10 p.m. That's been it. Thanks to Ashley. Thanks to Kev. Thanks for all of you in the chat. It's been good. Talk to you in a bit. Over and out.